各位观众，大家好。
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the Ironclad Irrefutable Evidence series. Please don't forget to like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share this program. This is a critical issue related to the well-being and security of each individual, every community, and the entire society. Thank you very much for your attention and support. Today, I'd like to give you examples of Chinese doctors offering multiple organs to their patients. 3 living people were used as standby liver donors for one operation. In September 2005, Dr. Huang Jiefu, the former Vice Minister of Health, took a trip with Luo Gan to attend the 50th Uyghur Autonomous Region anniversary in Xinjiang. During his visit, he demonstrated China's first autologous liver transplant at the first affiliated hospital of Xinjiang Medical University. At least 4 major Chinese media outlets reported that it was one of Dr. Huang's greatest professional achievements. On September 28, 2005, after opening the abdominal cavity of Mr. Yao, a cancer patient, Dr. Huang determined that the liver was more suitable for an autologous liver transplant, a procedure where the patient's liver is extracted, the tumor removed in vitro, and then placed back into the patient's body. This method greatly reduces the risk of foreign organ rejection. The transplant would require more than 12 hours to complete. Then, postoperative care would take another 24 hours to monitor whether the surgery is successful or not. A matching liver must also be in reserve in case the autologous transplant surgery fails. An allogeneic liver transplant can be performed immediately. After the new treatment plan was confirmed, the medical team closed the patient's incisions. Dr. Huang called 2 hospitals, the first affiliated hospital of Sun Yat-sen University and the Southwest Hospital of the 3rd Military Medical University, to request matching livers to be put on standby. According to media reports, livers were quickly found at each hospital within several hours after receiving Dr. Huang's request on September 28th. Please pay attention here. They use the transplant recipient's data to find donors. Reverse matching is the opposite from how every other organ distribution system in the world conducts business. Furthermore, the livers delivered to Dr. Huang had the same blood type and matched genetic loci. Standard organ donation systems don't possess the enormous availability that allows hospitals to find matched organs so expeditiously. On September 29, 2005, at 6:30 p.m., the first liver with the same blood type and matching gene loci was delivered from Chongqing to the recipient's hospital in Urumqi. In the evening of September 29, 2005, Dr. Huang did Yao's second surgery, which lasted 15 hours. The patient's recovery went well, so after 24 hours of post-operative care, there was no need for the livers on standby. In China, the Ministry of Health mandates that the cold ischemia times in liver transplantation must not exceed 15 hours. The cold ischemia time describes the time span between preserving a liver in a cold perfusion solution and restoring the blood circulation, reperfusion, after the liver is implanted into the recipient's body. A liver is no longer usable if the time exceeds 15 hours. This is a Chinese map. The distance from Chongqing to Urumqi, Xinjiang, is 1,433 miles. The distance from Guangzhou to Urumqi, Xinjiang, is 2,043 miles. The distance between the donors and the recipients matters. The longer the time from removing a donor's organ to placing it in a recipient, the less likely the transplant is to work. The further away a donor is from the recipient, the longer this time span will be. Based on the available information, if they have to transport extracted livers, it would have easily passed the 15-hour threshold, whether it came from Chongqing or Guangzhou. Therefore, the livers were transported in living donors. Also, it was reported by the state media that the hospital in Xinjiang found a matching liver at the same time. The third one must also have been a living person. The reason is that the liver they found should have been kept as viable as possible for his surgery. An excised organ is useless if it goes past its regulated preservation time. What they did was a whole liver transplant surgery. 3 persons were used as standby liver donors for 1 surgery. With 3 standby livers in total, Dr. Huang wasn't concerned about the distance or cold perfusion time threshold because the requested livers were still inside living people. In China, the executions of death row prisoners are strictly regulated and must be carried out at a designated time and place approved by the Supreme Court. Before an execution, staff from the procurator's office and the court are required to be present to verify the prisoner's identity. After an execution, a court doctor must perform a mandatory medical examination to pronounce the prisoner dead. Only then can his organs be extracted. The media reports relating to this case didn't mention any execution involvement. Also, it's impossible that a large group of court-appointed people from different offices could fly long distances to observe an operation in order to decide when to execute the criminals for their organs. Finally, based on the evidence discussed, we suspect that China's organ pool is distributed across the entire country, and the quantity of available organs is huge. I mentioned previously that the matching livers were found for the patient within a few hours. The odds of finding an exact match from an unrelated donor are about 100,000 to 1. However, Dr. Huang only needed to make 2 unanticipated calls in order to find backup livers. How large must the organ pool be in order to find livers with matching blood types and genetic loci so quickly and easily? As an experienced surgeon, Dr. Huang understood how critical the timing is for organ transplants. He was fully aware that his calls were going to cost some people their lives. In 2013, Guangzhou Daily reported that Dr. Huang did over 500 liver transplants in 2012, but used a donated organ in only 1 of them. In addition to his ministerial duties as the former Vice Minister of Health, Dr. Huang was still able to perform over 500 transplant surgeries in 1 year. How many transplants can other transplant surgeons do in a year in China? On the WOI-PFG's tracing list, there are 9,159 medical professionals suspected of being involved in harvesting organs from Falun Gong practitioners. 8 kidneys were tested for 1 transplant patient. As I mentioned before, Dr. Ten Jianming, a surgeon from the Kidney Transplant Center of the General Hospital at Fuzhou Military Region, tested 8 different kidneys for only 1 patient during his hospital stay, which lasted for an aggregate of 2 months, until the 8th kidney was successfully matched. This rarely occurs in hospitals in the United States. In China, hospitals can certainly find either 1 or multiple organs in a very short period of time. What does this imply? China's living human organ bank is large enough that multiple people can be placed on standby for organ transplants at any given time. Episode 16, Multiple and Simultaneous Transplants in 1 Day. In particular, please note that this is a worldwide unrestricted war without gunpowder. The CCP's crime of live organ harvesting from Falun Gong practitioners not only continues, but has spread throughout society. For example, in 2013, a 6-year-old child, Little Binbin, in Shanxi, went missing. 2 days later, he was found with his eyes gouged out for his cornea. Dozens of university students in Wuhan disappeared for no reason in recent years, and countless children and women go missing every year. Live organ harvesting has become a threat to everyone. Perhaps, as we are talking, many kind and innocent people are being put onto operation tables for their organs. And also, many have been detained in dark prisons for many years, and their hearts, livers, and kidneys are waiting to be excised in an indescribably cruel way at any moment. How urgently they need rescue from the outside world. How excruciating it is for their parents, brothers, and sisters to bear the pain of missing their loved ones for years. Live organ harvesting signifies an unprecedented atrocity that has never existed on this planet. We cannot heartlessly ignore the fact that the Chinese Communist Party is ravaging and killing people. We cannot watch the CCP flagrantly destroy the bottom line of morality with lies, coercion, and financial lures that aim to silence and lead the entire human race to fundamental destruction without taking action. We urge everyone to like, subscribe, and spread the word about our program. Let your family, relatives, friends, neighbors, co-workers, and anybody else in your social circle know the facts of the CCP's mass organ harvesting from living Falun Gong practitioners. Please tell the whole world the truth and stand together to put a stop to the CCP's crimes against humanity. This is a critical issue related to the well-being and security of each individual, every community, and our entire society. Thank you very much for your attention and support.
感谢各位朋友，感谢大家的关注支持。
World Organization to Investigate the Persecution of Falun Gong, WOIPFG, was founded on January 20th, 2003. It is based in New York with branches in Europe, Australia, Asia, and Canada. WOIPFG's mission is to investigate the criminal conduct of all institutions, organizations, and individuals involved in the persecution of Falun Gong. To bring such investigations, no matter how long it takes, no matter how far and deep we have to search, to full closure, to exercise fundamental principles of humanity, and to restore and uphold justice in society. The principle of our investigation holds that those who have committed crimes shall be brought to justice. Individuals shall bear the same responsibility for their involvement in their organization's crimes, and those instigating the persecution shall bear the same responsibility of those who have physically carried out the persecution. We intend to uproot state-sanctioned crimes and safeguard human morality. The criminal conduct of all individuals within organizations, units, and departments involved in the persecution will be thoroughly investigated and brought to justice.